Takahata. Some of you may have only heard of his name, and that's because he is a penis haver and a Twitch streamer. He is also a veteran of the anime community, being part of multiple abridged series, but you may know him through his podcast where he invites various VTubers and just goes on and talks to them, in a way that mimics the vibe of a guy just having a chit-chat with a barkeep. He is friends with a relatively medium-sized group of indies and some people from the VR chat and the anime community, but then all of a sudden, silence. A lot of it. No word whatsoever. But then a few threads, Reddit posts, all pointing towards something that resulted in a fallout between Takahata and his friends. And it culminated in many, many Twitter exposés and Google Docs of abuse, of sexual misconduct, of friendships broken beyond repair. But I know what you want. You don't want to read through all that. Can't anyone just TLDR this bullshit for me while giving context? That's me, the Nusagi. Dumpster diving through weird fucking Google Docs that nobody really cares about but wants something to feast on in an episode of Google Dockey. Usually, a VTuber doesn't just want to become quiet if they want to keep their brand or content alive, especially if the intention is just a break or a hiatus. And if they do want to make their leave, they want to go out farming and celebrating with their friends as much as they can. But that's not what happened here. Takahata was just active in one day, then ghost quiet in the next. It was sudden, it was weird, no announcements, nothing. But then Alicia, a medium-sized VTuber and friend of Takahata, suddenly announced that she'd be cutting off all contact with him, saying that she is uncomfortable interacting with him anymore and just doesn't really want to say any more further than that. Adora Bunny allegedly did so as well, saying that after talking with him, they had to make this decision. Some doom and gloom from that community, speculations about what could have happened, but then complete and utter silence. Until Takahata would speak out on May 9 saying all this shit. He says he knows that people are cutting him off and will not engage with him anymore. This is all because of a false rumor circulated by a certain someone who he knows is responsible for it. He doesn't want to make a big deal out of this and is being silent because he is undergoing a legal procedure and has been advised not to say too much. That he will come out with everything publicly in due time when all the evidence is compiled. And as you can see, a lot of chatter, not much substance to work on. And that is intentional. Taka wants to acknowledge the goings-on, but doesn't want to confirm anything. Though, a few speculations were coming out from the fans and other creators, thinking that this might be as serious as sexual assault, or any kind of sexual misconduct. The response to this from his other friends and other creators were mixed. Simrai came out here and said she will continue to be friends with Taka after seeing the receipts from both sides, essentially siding with Taka, even saying that she has lost friends because of this. This VTuber Junk too made the same decision as Simrai, still siding with Taka. But the loudest and the most seen of the response came from Alicia herself, who is in stark opposite to what everyone else was saying. She said that she listened to him twice, gave him all the benefit of the doubt, but that ultimately concluded that Taka wasn't worth defending, that she made this decision after they had talked, not because of the rumor, though saying that she will read the doc Taka will eventually publicize. The silence continued after this, but so did the allegations. Some people were saying that if this was as bad as sexual assault or something horrendous that involved the victim, then there needs to be proof and action instead of vague posting. Some were skeptical of the seriousness of it because of the mixed reception as well as the lack of urgency. In general, no one in the public knew anything, but because of these people parading it around, the vague posting, it was all just super annoying. And remember Adora Bunny, one of the earlier people that distanced herself from Takahata before all these came out? Well, she got involved in another Google Dockey, one that'll be an entire episode in of itself. Goodwill for her has dried up a little. And all of a sudden, in August 28, 2025, she decided to drop a tweet trying to further the fuel against Takahata. And well, she says the reason she distanced herself from Takahata is because this guy Redclaw showed her allegations of Takahata raping somebody, and the screenshot was well, suffice to say, it was the most useless fucking tweet ever. It was just this, a screenshot of a conversation that she had with Redclaw, but with all the relevant and important stuff censored anyway. She's not proving that the allegations were true, only that she just had a conversation with somebody who made the allegations. very stupid. It kinda gives me the impression that either she was just trying to deflect of her own Google Dockey, or she was trying to farm this one as one last Hail Mary for attention. I don't even think she asked Red Claw to say this publicly, either way, so that guy just got outed accidentally as a rat. Either way, shortly after, Taka would make a thread and he says the following. He knows the allegations have been slowly making themselves public and that info has been muddied. They contacted the person who started this whole thing but has actually not yet responded and wants to return streaming. Though, in response to this, Alicia would come out yet again saying all of this. She wants to say this now because the victim is apparently okay saying something. Taka told her that she had sex with a girl under sedatives and has a 24/7 caretaker because she cannot take care of herself. When Taka and this girl was going to see each other, her mother sent that caretaker to look after her but then suddenly started crying and saying she wants to kill herself. When they got to the hotel, she took a lot of pills in front of Taka and she only talked to Taka about this, never to the victim. And if you are confused, don't worry, so am I. Because it's not really coherent, to be honest. It's just a random jumble of random events that we are supposed to piece together and form the implication that Taka sexually assaulted somebody. She also said that the victim was now okay saying something. But then how do you then say that she never talked with her? What? Not a really meaningful contribution, TBH. And you know what? Everyone else fucking agrees. It's actually kind of a stupid response. Either way, perhaps prompted by Alicia's response, Takahata would finally come out, dropping his own Google Dockey. The subject of today is a girl named Mistress Doom, and Taka would make side notes that he initially wanted to keep it private due to his respect for her mental health. But because the girl kept fucking spreading the narrative around, Taka was forced to publicly call her out. Taka makes the rationale that sometimes a person may think something is true because what they feel happened rather than what actually happened. Like how a mentally ill or very hurt person can perceive mundane things as abusive, intense, or something more terrifying or traumatic than what it objectively is. And it can be a basis of one's own reality, even if the facts or the law says otherwise. And this is super relevant to his telling of the story. He claims that he has loved this person for 9 years, met her at a con one day, and then started e-dating. Their relationship throughout the years was on and off, especially throughout COVID. Taka would even confirm that he had feelings for her when he was in a relationship with somebody else. When they started VTubing and working together, their relationship turned into a full-blown romantic one. In 2024, Taka decided to meet her again in London, as it coincides with a wrestling event he wanted to watch, and because this girl's hometown is only 1 hour away from London, so might as well. When Taka landed, she claimed her dog got health problems coincidentally and expressed anxiety over coming to London and getting out of her home in general. Taka is a bit disappointed and sees this as somewhat of an excuse, because she said other people in her house could take care of the dog and has done so in the past. While he understands the anxiety because he too has his own mental illness, he claims he didn't know the full extent during this time. Mistress tries to invite Taka over to her hometown instead of her going to London. Taka says he can't do that because he just traveled for 20 hours and doesn't want to spend unnecessary money, though ultimately, they agreed to meet up in a hotel in London for one night for now. They started getting touchy when they met in London, but Mistress said that she wasn't in the right headspace to get intimate, so Taka restrained himself for now. They just chilled in the hotel room holding hands but no lewd stuff yet. Taka even fell asleep during this time, and he makes the point that she never indicated that she was afraid of intimacy. During this time, she took some unknown pills, saying that she needed them to live, but nothing else other than that. That's concerning, but okay. As the night went on, they started to get more intimate. Taka says the mistress wasn't showing signs of discomfort or apprehensiveness. He would even ask for permission every time Taka wanted to do a sex thing, thrice even, and she would consent every single time. Upon morning, Mistress said she wanted to go home because she was getting too anxious being away from her home this long, and she said she would come back on a different day, so she left some of her things on his hotel room. They even went to a British museum. After getting home, Mistress would express that her anxiety is getting better, even inviting him out to her actual hometown again. But then she started saying that she wanted to hang out as friends going forward. No more hugs, no more intimacy, because of previous traumas and abuse. Taka understood. Literally the next day, girl sent a breakup message, but he can still come over and just hang out as friends totally. Taka was devastated, but ultimately accepted and understood it. Then, they started talking about going to the wrestling event. It was a whole back and forth because the girl didn't want to leave her hometown, and Taka would do her best to make sure her anxieties were addressed and that she didn't need to stay long, or that she didn't even need to come at all if she did not want to. But remember, she left her stuff on Taka's hotel room, so she had to come back to London eventually. She ended up coming, and this time with her roommate/carer, a guy named Jimmy. They went to the wrestling event, and it was obvious that the girl was going to explode from the anxiety of too many people. Mistress said she wanted to go home, and she did, taking her stuff from the hotel room with her. Taka was disappointed, but all was cool. Taka watched the show alone. Girl still kept insisting that Taka come to her hometown, but Taka wasn't sure if he wanted to anymore because all their plans kept getting derailed. Her enthusiasm on planning things versus how she actually acts when said plan is being executed was kind of frustrating, and the fact that they just broke up yesterday. The whole fuck-up of plan soured his mood, and he decided he should just go home and cut his trip short. Mistress was supportive of that. When Taka got home, girls started accusing her of actual rape, saying that she had been sedated with the pills and couldn't give consent. Taka is obviously fucking horrified because he didn't know any of that. Taka makes the point that she never once expressed discomfort or apprehension with the sex, and that again, every time he asked, she consented. He wished she was just more honest with him and told or showed him any of what she was feeling. Obviously, the girl wasn't having any of it. Rape is rape, apparently. Taka admits some thought that he had failed to see the severity of her mental illness, that this was all a failure of miscommunication, and 5 months later, the girl started sharing among their mutual friends that she had been sexually assaulted by him, coerced into intimacy, twisting their timeline of events according to her mental illness warped perception. And then he thanks his friends for believing and giving him the chance to explain. And that is where we find ourselves, folks. A potential Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation, but with mental illness instead of shitted beds. It explains why there was drama, why there are two sides, why nobody wanted to say anything. But the drama doesn't end there. Mistress Doom later made a statement, or rather, her carer made it for her, good old Jimmy. And she says, "This is a police investigation, none of this should be public because the law is dealing with it." She wants to tell her story and share her evidence, but she wants to talk to her people first before making a statement. What Taka did in sharing evidence and talking about it publicly is a crime. She never wanted to talk about it, she has proof, and she didn't permit anyone to share the story as it is an active police investigation. Anyone that shared or will share this story aside from her or her carer has shared it against my will. And yeah, this is a very bad statement. We all agree it is a legal situation, so why didn't she respond to Taka's lawyers? And while she says that people shouldn't have known about it, she has actively shared it to her multiple mutual friends. She fired the first shot and started spreading the narrative, but now is crying when Taka returned fire. And why the fuck was Adora Bunny and Alicia talking about this whole thing if, in Mistress's own words, everything that was shared was without her consent? Heck, Alicia didn't even speak with the actual fucking victim. I'm guessing that Mistress told friends about this, but did not tell these friends not to spread it, nor expected them to. And look, when a creator tells me a secret, I keep it to myself. Petty drama, serious beef, and everything in between. I'm not a rat. But if I was told that somebody was a rapist, I'd probably want to warn other people too, especially if I can confirm from all parties that they did rape someone. And while I would personally try to verify the accuracy of information, I cannot necessarily blame other VTubers for impulsively sharing it with others. It's a bitch move, but a mistake easily made in the heat of the moment. With Taka's account of her mental illness and inability to communicate, I am gonna imagine that she didn't tell people not to spread it around, or even mention the investigation. Heck, she shouldn't have told anyone at all, especially involving Adora Bunny of all people. In any case, another person made a Google Dockey against Mistress Doom too, and this guy basically claims that he commissioned Mistress for some cosplay stuff back in 2018. Stuff that he knew would take some time to create. Here are literal receipts. Bro paid her €1,000. Some years later, Mistress messaged him saying that she cannot make the commission, and that she would soon refund him. This refund never happened. Mecha would reconnect with her and raid her on Twitch but was promptly blocked on all socials. Mecha says that another YouTuber named Revolution was also scammed by her. So aside from being a mentally ill liar, she is also a full-blown scammer. Mistress's carer, good old Jimmy, tried to respond, offering to pay him back what he is owed, but with the doc saying never to contact him again, I don't know if that transaction is going to be made, bro. And look, Jimmy is just a guy doing his best You know, I don't think any flack should come to him. Bro is probably in a very rough and undeserved emotional spot right now. I don't envy you, bro. In any case, Mistress Doom would say one last thing. She says that she talked to authorities about what she can say and confirms that she cannot say anything because it's complicated and it involves multiple legal jurisdictions. Confirms that people that talked about it has done it without her consent. Some, Alicia, haven't even talked to her directly about it. She says that people should treat it seriously, respect their privacy, and she will let the law handle it. And she says that she is against cancel culture and that she's never made a doc to spread it around and tried to ruin Takahata's reputation, which is funny. Then lastly, she says she won't be talking about it anymore anywhere and she'll just do her own thing. And I have some things to say. I fully truly respect and wish the best for victims of rape and wish illness on actual rapists, but a lot of this isn't making sense. It just seems like she couldn't respond to the doc. She set up a straw man of her saying she's never made any Google Doc to try and cancel anyone, as if trying to imply that she didn't leak jack shit. But again, obviously, you don't need to make a Google Doc to spread this around. I wouldn't gamble a cent on any truthful matters she would say at this point. And if there is one thing that I would agree with Mistress here, it's this, that they should have just let the law sort this shit out, and when the court has made its decision, that is when you broadcast all of this disaster fest to us in all its ugly glory. And that is where our story concludes for now, left in that never going to get resolved case. I am gonna imagine both parties won't be talking about it anytime soon, but the court of public opinion sides with Takahata. Alicia and Adora are probably going to be in a rough spot with their friend groups for gambling on the wrong horse and insisting on it, but we'll see. I do think that Takahata is going to recover from all of this, especially because of the overwhelming support and the overwhelming evidence. Hi, thanks for watching my video. If you want to see more content and to get your name featured in the boards over here, consider joining the second tier of my membership, My Scholars. Not only do you get videos earlier and uncensored, they get exclusive access to videos reserved only for members, as well as streams for spicier dramas and topics. My Google Dockey series is a series where I condense VTuber Google Docs that would normally take an hour or two to finish into digestible 10 to 15 minute videos so you don't have to. 2 episodes a month. For the Gooners, I will also happen to recommend VTuber related materials for your particular needs. Either way, liking and subscribing helps too. I will continue to brainstorm more exclusive content that will make it worth your while to give me money. Haha. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.